This is the only coastal gun battery still in position.
And it was coastal gun batteries like this that the British were relying on to repel the Japanese if they invaded Singapore. They didn't expect them to land on the coast of Malaya, and with no air cover, Force Z headed out to meet them.
And there's a map showing you where the Japanese landed on the 8th of December and where the Repulse and Prince of Wales was sunk on the 10th of December 1941. Crayfish, prawns, red schnatters.
And after a light snack at Jack's Takeaway and the last beer for a week, we were ready to make the journey towards the Repulse.
We're all ready to depart on the Mata Icon. With a view as we leave Singapore.
And one thing that Jack really made clear to us is on the voyage out is the historical importance of the Repulse and the Prince of Wales, and how many British sailors lost their lives, and to respect this wreck and all who sailed on it. And that's what makes this wreck such a special dive, certainly for myself and I think everyone on board.
And after our first day's diving on the Seven Skies, the Repulse, 26,500 tons, battle cruiser, built in 1916, capable of 31 knots. And as you're going down the shot line, you realise what such a major capital ship this was.
Sent to the bottom by air attack by Japanese Betty bombers,
along with 327 of her crew. The shot line is actually tied into a torpedo hole amidships, which was the first torpedo to hit, which the Repulse appeared to shrug off, but it did in fact knock out all her pumps and her ability to pump out any water. And Captain Tennant reportedly was chucking this cruiser around like a destroyer and had managed to avoid up to 18 previous torpedo attacks. One thing you don't have to worry about on this trip is slack water. So looks like some of the rebreather divers have only just come down, and there are the wrecks.
Go!
3 hours after their attack on Pearl Harbor, the Japanese launched their first air raid on Singapore. That evening, still expecting an attack from the sea, the British battleships went in search of the Japanese invasion force, and they sailed without air cover.
And in the afternoon, we decided that our plan would be to visit the main 15-inch guns on the bow. So we were going to traverse along the gunwale, looking down until we saw the guns, then drop down on the guns and make a film of them. And this is the rear of the two forward barbettes, 15-inch guns. And it's a bit short and sweet, this dive, but it was a second dive over 50 metres. We didn't want to get levels up too. One thing that takes a bit of getting used to is how busy these shipping lanes are out in Singapore. And the next morning we were keen to try and get to the bow, and Jack had told us to visit. We were on trimix today, so I should have a nice clear head. Yeah, that's my buddy John above me. I'm swimming along the gunnel so I can take in the sights above and below. And I think that having John that far above me, such a fantastic way to give the wreck a good perspective. Shows you the real size of the wreck. And this shot on the bow is going to be one of my favourite clips of photography I've ever filmed. Although I've only been filming 1 year, this helmet camera is a bit difficult in certain situations to know what you're filming and maintain people in shot. But I think you really get the feel of the repulse from these shots, and I think there you go at the flagstaff, right down at 55 metres, and Johnny's up the top there in about 32 metres, and he's just free falling this whole time, and I think it's a very special moment in my diving. Give me the salute at the bottom. I didn't know whether that was because he's knocked out of his head or some kind of respect to the wreck status, but he's obviously happy, and I think this made the trip for both of us.
This odd shaped lump you can see lying on the guns would actually be lying across the top of the guns, and it would have been their radar rangefinder.
And there's a slightly better shot of the anti-aircraft guns in the turret.
Well, actually what happens is he comes up to here, realises he's missed the stop, comes back and goes back there.
So he stopped being so early on, he's still inside.
I saw him switch his gases today and then he would fucking drop back over the side. Oh no, Keith, I'm going now. Paul!
So after a quick bit of history, a nice leisurely lunch and some very careful planning, we were ready for our afternoon dive, and we decided we were going to go and see the propellers, although 2 of them were missing. And the Repulse had 4 propellers, same as the Prince of Wales, and this is the most starboard propeller shaft, and the 2 starboard propellers have both been salvaged. Then you can just see the rudder there, which obviously gave the ship great manoeuvrability because of the reports of the way that Captain Tennant chucked this boat around. And then there's the first of the propellers covered in net, and then the port side propeller is the only one that's clearly visible, and this is quite a good shot of it. And you can see one of the blades has got damage on it there. Apparently that was caused by a torpedo hit and not by salvages or damage since the wreck sunk.
And after a few dives on the Repulse, we started heading back towards Singapore, but I can really see why Jack goes back here year after year. What an excellent dive.